Anthony Davis and LeBron James have become the focus of NBA discussions, all due to a shocking rumor. Speculation is swirling that LeBron played a key role in orchestrating the high-profile trade that moved Davis to the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for Luka Doncic. But now, the situation has taken an even more dramatic twist. Could there be truth behind the whispers? A recently surfaced clip captures a tense on-court argument between LeBron and Davis, causing many to speculate that Davis may have finally called LeBron out over the trade. Curious about what truly unfolded during that fiery exchange? Stay tuned until the end of this video to find out. The conflict. Rumors suggest that tensions between LeBron James and Anthony Davis had been brewing, with some even alleging that LeBron was behind the surprise trade that sent Davis to the Dallas Mavericks, an unexpected move given their previously strong bond. An old video of an altercation between the two NBA stars has resurfaced, sparking fresh doubts about the state of their relationship. In April 2024, the Los Angeles Lakers found themselves visibly upset following a surprising Game 2 defeat to the Denver Nuggets. During that game, a particular moment caught on camera showed James expressing frustration toward Davis for not securing a pivotal rebound, which led to Nuggets player Christian Braun scoring an uncontested layup. This critical sequence occurred midway through the second quarter. Nikola Jokic, under pressure from the dwindling shot clock, had thrown a hurried and imprecise pass. Prior to that moment, the Lakers had successfully executed solid defense, only for it to unravel when Braun, with ample space near the rim, grabbed the rebound and completed the play with ease. Many questioned Davis's positioning in the aftermath, but others contended James or D'Angelo Russell should have stepped up to box out Braun. Positioned perfectly beneath the hoop, the Nuggets guard capitalized on the breakdown, changing the momentum in Denver's favor. To make matters more frustrating, James finished the game with an impressive stat line: 26 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. However, his growing irritation reflected a broader, recurring challenge for the team. The Lakers had consistently faced challenges with offensive rebounding, an issue that became glaring during their contests. In an earlier Western Conference Finals meeting, the Nuggets had overpowered them on the boards, grabbing 42 offensive rebounds to the Lakers' 28. This problem grew even more severe in the current series. In the first game, the Nuggets achieved a 15-6 advantage in offensive rebounds, while in the second game, the disparity stood at 9-4. Even though many of the games were close, the Lakers' struggle to limit second-chance opportunities was proving to be a costly flaw. After their Game 1 defeat, LeBron James emphasized the need to address the finer aspects of play. Meanwhile, head coach Darvin Ham highlighted that the extra possessions the Lakers conceded were a significant vulnerability that hurt them in the opener. Although LeBron James showed visible frustration toward Anthony Davis during the game, his annoyance escalated after the final whistle, as he harshly criticized the referees for overturning what he believed was an obvious foul against D'Angelo Russell. James raised concerns about the league's replay system, arguing it made little sense to reverse a call when Russell was clearly struck in the face during his drive to the basket. He also highlighted that similar controversies had occurred in the 76ers game against the Knicks, venting his frustration over how these situations were being handled. But James's irritation didn't end there. Once the game concluded, he approached a referee, still visibly upset about what he felt was a missed foul on his layup attempt. Late in the fourth quarter, with the Lakers leading 99-97, James believed he had been fouled on a shot and deserved a free throw for a potential N1. Combined with the overturned foul on Russell, these instances left the Lakers infuriated following their 101-99 defeat. Still, despite the unfavorable calls, the Lakers had only themselves to blame for their collapse. After building a 20-point advantage in the third quarter, they failed to maintain it. While officiating decisions may have played a role, allowing the Nuggets to claw back into the game was ultimately on them. Keeping their focus and composure could have rendered those controversial moments meaningless. It's possible that this visible frustration was what sparked speculation that LeBron James wanted Anthony Davis off the team. A widely circulated rumor claimed that James had a hand in orchestrating the trade involving Anthony Davis. Given James' long-standing relationship with Davis as a teammate and his significant influence over the Lakers' roster decisions, many immediately connected LeBron to the deal that sent Davis to Dallas. CBS Sports NBA Insider Bill Ryder added fuel to the fire. During a discussion with Joe Musso on CBS Sports HQ, Ryder referenced his reporting from the previous season's trade deadline, noting there were indications from within the Lakers organization that James had become dissatisfied with Davis. Ryder also described James as being notoriously unpredictable. However, when CBS Sports HQ uploaded the segment to social media, the post altered the tone, removing the word little from Ryder's comments and omitting the critical detail that this stemmed from discussions in the prior season. To grasp why so many believed LeBron had a role in the trade, it's essential to examine the deal in greater detail, a monumental move that sent shockwaves across the Western Conference. The Lakers, Mavericks, and Jazz worked together on a sweeping 3-team trade, which resulted in Luka Doncic joining Los Angeles while Anthony Davis headed to Dallas. The focus isn't on being better, but rather on creating the right fit. As previously mentioned by Nico, defense remains the key to winning championships, and AD is the player we firmly believe aligns with that vision. As part of the trade, the Lakers gained Doncic, along with Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. On the other hand, the Mavericks received Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers' 2029 first-round draft pick. The trade was officially confirmed by Dallas on February 2nd, 2025. It was the Mavericks who initiated talks, reaching out to the Lakers just a few days prior to finalizing the deal. Nico Harrison, Dallas general manager, shared a long-standing connection with Rob Pelinka, the GM for the Lakers. Their relationship dates back to their involvement with Kobe Bryant, with Harrison serving as the Nike marketing manager for Bryant and Pelinka acting as his agent. This history between the two executives likely facilitated the swift progress of negotiations. For the Lakers, the decision to proceed with the deal was an obvious one. The organization's front office, coaching team, and ownership were unified on one crucial decision. The pursuit of a generational talent like Dantzig justified any associated cost. Pelinka expressed high praise for Dantzig, describing him as an extraordinary superstar with a championship-driven mentality, while highlighting the organization's dedication to constructing a roster tailored to align with head coach J.J. Redick's strategic vision. Once the deal was finalized late on February 1st, Pelinka quickly made three important calls. The first was a combined conversation with Davis and Redick. Next, he contacted Davis's representative, Rich Paul. Lastly, he ensured LeBron James, the face of the Lakers, was kept fully informed. Meanwhile, in Dallas, Harrison attempted to connect with Dantzig, though the star was not ready to engage. Speaking to the Dallas Morning News afterward, Harrison revealed he had sent a text and left a voicemail, acknowledging that Dantzig likely needed time to absorb the news. As for Davis, he opted to forego his $5.9 million trade kicker, a move that provided the Mavericks with increased salary cap flexibility to enhance their roster. The financial impact wasn't particularly significant, especially given that Texas doesn't impose a state income tax, and there was always the possibility of recovering those funds through a future contract extension. This wasn't just an unexpected trade, it was unprecedented. For the first time in NBA history, two active All-NBA players were exchanged for each other mid-season. Trades of this caliber are exceedingly rare, which is why the basketball community was stunned when the news broke. However, no one appeared more taken aback than LeBron James, not because of the trade itself, but due to the rumors circulating that he had orchestrated it. Speculation ran rampant, with many suggesting he had been instrumental in sending Anthony Davis to Dallas, throwing James into the center of the controversy. Surprised by the claims, he chose to directly confront the issue. James did not hesitate to clarify his position, firmly dispelling any notions that he had influenced the deal. His response? He didn't mince words when addressing Bill Ryder's allegations, bluntly labeling the reporter a liar. When speculation began circulating about his alleged role in the trade, James was quick to set the record straight, emphasizing that he had no part in the decision-making process. In fact, he was as blindsided as anyone else when the announcement came out. The revelation reached him in real time while he was out to dinner with his family, still basking in the glow of the Lakers' victory over the Knicks in New York that same Saturday. Coming to terms with the trade wasn't easy. It actually took him 2 full days to fully process the organization's choice to part ways with Anthony Davis, who had been both a close friend and a teammate for more than 5 years. It's been a whirlwind, James remarked, adding that he couldn't begin to fathom what teammates like Luka D, Max Christie, or Maxi Kleber must be going through, along with, well, whoosh, he was one of us too. The adjustment, he admitted, has been difficult. James and Davis had formed a remarkable partnership during their time in Los Angeles, delivering immediate results by steering the Lakers to an NBA title in their very first season together in 2020. Several years later, the team added another significant victory to their record, overpowering the Indiana Pacers to claim the inaugural NBA in-season tournament title. This achievement not only awarded them the prestigious NBA Cup, but also granted each player on the team a $500,000 bonus. As the NBA's all-time leading scorer, James has witnessed nearly everything the league has to offer, though adapting to life without Davis will be a process that takes time. His attention, however, has already turned to his new collaboration with Luka Doncic, a player he has admired for many years. After scoring 26 points in a commanding win against the Clippers, James shared his thoughts on joining forces with Doncic, expressing confidence that their adjustment period would be seamless. He highlighted his commitment to always playing the game the right way and inspiring the next wave of talent. Recognizing Doncic as a key figure in the league's future, James expressed his excitement about finally playing alongside him. Like many others, James initially dismissed the trade announcement as mere speculation when he first heard it. However, instead of lingering on the past, he made it clear that his priority remained on guiding the Lakers forward. Addressing concerns that the team might shift its focus toward Doncic and its younger stars, James brushed aside any worries, showing no signs of apprehension. From his perspective, there was absolutely nothing improper about it. He also clarified one vital point. If he ever questioned his position within the organization, he had the power to waive his no-trade clause and move on, yet he deliberately chose to remain. Rather than seeking an exit, James has dedicated himself to ensuring the transition goes as smoothly as possible, actively supporting Doncic and the new roster as the Lakers strive to perform at the highest level. Recently, LeBron James reiterated the strength of his bond with Anthony Davis. On February 25th, when Davis made his first reappearance at Crypto.com Arena since being traded, the Lakers celebrated him with a tribute video before their game against the Mavericks. Even though Davis couldn't play due to injury, the occasion was meaningful, and James took the time to fully embrace it. Post-game, James shared warm words about his former teammate, mentioning that he watched the entire tribute video, He also emphasized that their connection extended far beyond basketball, calling Davis one of his dearest friends and expressing how rewarding it was to see him recognized that way. Davis truly earned the tribute, and one day, his jersey will likely join those of Lakers greats like Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, George Mikan, and Pau Gasol in the rafters. He solidified his position as one of the greatest big men in the franchise's history, carving out a legacy that's bound to endure. James recognized Davis's significance to the Lakers and wanted to ensure his contributions were honored, despite their chapter as teammates coming to an end. The tribute video offered just a glimpse into the immense impact Davis had on the team, with his role in Lakers lore cemented beyond question. Interestingly, Anthony Davis never implied that LeBron James had any hand in orchestrating the trade. In fact, he was just as surprised as anyone when he first learned about it. His immediate instinct was to call James, curious if he had been aware of the move beforehand. Following the Lakers' 107-99 victory over the Mavericks, Davis reflected on the trade, admitting he had been completely blindsided by the development. Having spent 6 seasons alongside James, his first thought was to pick up the phone and get his former teammates' take on the situation. Davis noted that decisions at the management level often involve a degree of politics, and he acknowledged that the Lakers' leadership did what they believed was best for the organization. However, he wasn't entirely sure he had ever been given the full story, confessing that he couldn't definitively say what was true or not regarding the circumstances behind the trade. Rather than seeking explanations from the front office, he reached out directly to the teammate he had shared the court with for years. They spoke over the phone, shared their perspectives, and left it at that. At no point did Davis imply that James had been a mastermind behind the trade. In fact, there are plenty of reasons to doubt LeBron James had any involvement in the deal. The decision to trade Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic likely boiled down to 2 primary factors: Davis's history of injuries and Doncic's struggles with conditioning. Davis's incredible talent had never been in doubt. When fit, he was easily one of the most dominant two-way players in the NBA. But that was always the issue: his health. Remaining on the court had consistently been a challenge. Over his career, Davis had sat out an astonishing 232 games, roughly split between his time with the Pelicans and the Lakers. These injury concerns had only been solidified in recent seasons. An MCL sprain in his left knee sidelined him for 17 games during the 2021-22 season. Just as he appeared poised for a comeback, a right ankle injury kept him out for another 18 games. Jump ahead to the 2024-25 season, and the cycle persisted, this time with a left adductor strain that cost him several weeks. The Lakers, designed around the partnership of Davis and LeBron James, found their core increasingly unstable as Davis frequently alternated between availability and absence. Eventually, the front office would have had to grapple with a pressing question: could they truly build a title-contending squad around a player whose physical reliability was so uncertain? While the Lakers were questioning Davis's dependability, the Mavericks had their own concerns regarding Luka Doncic. Ever since Doncic entered the league, speculation about his conditioning had been frequent. At his peak, he was a dominant presence on the court, combining top-tier playmaking with a scoring prowess few could rival in the NBA. However, there were lingering concerns behind the scenes about whether he was maintaining the fitness level needed to perform at his best. Reports emerged during the 2024-25 campaign that Doncic's weight had climbed into the upper 260s, leading the Mavericks to grant him an 11-day excused leave to focus on improving his physical condition. And it wasn't solely about his weight. Internal chatter from within the Mavericks organization hinted at a lifestyle that didn't exactly exude discipline. Activities like drinking, smoking hookah, and erratic training routines were reportedly part of the mix. Adding fuel to the fire were whispers that Doncic might have been using Ozempic, a diabetes drug popularly associated with weight loss. However, with no solid proof to back the claim, it remained firmly in the realm of speculation. Ultimately, this trade wasn't driven by locker room tensions or LeBron orchestrating events behind the scenes. It was a strategic decision made by 2 teams seeking a clean slate. Despite rumors of a fallout between LeBron James and Anthony Davis playing into the narrative, such claims were entirely unfounded. Still, it's no surprise the rumor gained traction. Fans are drawn to drama, especially when it revolves around big-name players. For the media, sensational stories like these are priceless. Conflict drives engagement, and nothing grabs attention like the idea of former teammates turning into rivals. While the James Davis speculation proved to be just that, mere chatter, it's a perfect moment to reflect on instances where NBA superstar conflicts turn into actual headline-grabbing controversies. One of the most infamous altercations in NBA history is known as the Malice at the Palace. This wasn't merely a scuffle. It was a catastrophic event that left a lasting impact on the league. On the night of November 19, 2004, while the Indiana Pacers faced off against the defending champion Detroit Pistons, tensions boiled over, sparking a chaotic melee that extended far beyond the basketball court, involving fans and the pandemonium. Hostility between these 2 teams was already palpable. Earlier that year, during the Eastern Conference Finals, the Pistons had eliminated the Pacers from the playoffs on their way to securing the NBA championship. When they clashed again early in the following season, emotions were at a fever pitch. The Pacers entered the game with an impressive 6-2 record, while the Pistons, sitting at 4-3, were eager to make a statement. Broadcast live on ESPN, what began as a highly anticipated matchup soon turned into one of the most notorious nights in the league's history, shocking millions of viewers across the nation. With the clock winding down to less than a minute in the fourth quarter, the Pacers held a commanding 97-82 lead. But then, everything changed. Pistons center Ben Wallace drove to the basket, only to be fouled from behind by Pacers forward Ron Artest. Already on edge, Wallace pushed Artest hard in the chest, igniting a chain reaction. Players from both sides stormed in, shoving and scuffling while officials and coaches frantically tried to break things up. It appeared that tensions had calmed somewhat, with Artest attempting to stay composed by stepping away and reclining on the scores table. However, out of nowhere, a spectator, later identified as John Green, hurled a drink that struck Artest directly on the chest. This was the final straw. Artest shot to his feet and charged into the crowd, mistakenly grabbing another fan, Michael Ryan, believing he was the culprit. Chaos erupted almost instantly as more Pacers players followed Artest into the stands, and fists began flying. The entire arena descended into pandemonium, with fans hurling drinks, chairs, and punches as players retaliated in the mayhem. The game was halted abruptly as security personnel and police officers swiftly intervened to restore order and ensure the Pacers were escorted out of the arena without incident. The repercussions were monumental. The NBA issued severe penalties, suspending 9 players for a combined total of 146 games, which also led to approximately $11 million in forfeited wages. Ron Artest faced the most significant sanction, being banned for the remainder of the season. Additionally, 5 players were charged with assault, receiving probation and community service, while 5 fans were permanently banned from attending future Pistons home games. In the aftermath, the NBA implemented substantial reforms to avoid a similar event. Security measures were intensified, alcohol sales were restricted, and the league made it unequivocally clear that confrontations between players and fans would not be tolerated. Another infamous brawl involved Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Oakley. After enduring years of the hack-a-Shaq tactic, O'Neal's frustration finally boiled over during a Saturday night matchup in 2002 against the Chicago Bulls. Provoked by a hard foul from Brad Miller and a shove from Oakley, Shaq snapped, sparking a chaotic scuffle that came dangerously close to spiraling out of control. O'Neal wasted no time targeting Miller, delivering 2 powerful punches, one narrowly missing while the other landed before they both hit the floor. Chaos erupted almost instantly as players and officials scrambled to break up the melee. Bulls rookie Tyson Chandler, who had a front-row seat to the altercation, wasn't surprised by O'Neal's outburst. He remarked that, given how frequently O'Neal faced deliberate fouls, it was a wonder he'd managed to keep his composure for so long. The fight prompted an immediate review by the league, and suspensions seemed unavoidable. According to NBA regulations, even a single thrown punch automatically results in a 1-game suspension, but given the intensity of this brawl, O'Neal appeared to be facing a far heftier penalty. In the previous season, Marcus Camby of the Knicks had received a 5-game suspension for a comparable incident when he attempted to punch Danny Miller. Miller, who narrowly escaped serious injury during that altercation, admitted that a slight movement of his head had spared him. He expressed disappointment at being blindsided during the confrontation, but acknowledged Oakley's intervention, thanking his veteran teammate for potentially preventing a broken jaw. The game itself was just as heated as the altercation. The Lakers ultimately fell 106-104 in overtime, marking their 3rd instance of back-to-back losses this season. Even prior to tip-off, there was friction in the air. O'Neal had caught wind of Oakley's pregame remarks about refusing to be intimidated by him, and once play began, Oakley wasted no time backing his word with action. Each time O'Neal received the ball near the basket, he was met with a physical foul, courtesy of either Oakley or Miller. At one juncture, O'Neal retaliated by delivering a forearm strike to Miller's face. Tensions reached their peak when both Oakley and Miller forcefully fouled O'Neal after he secured pass. According to Miller, trying to simply nudge O'Neal wasn't effective because of his sheer strength. The only viable strategy was to grab hold of him and compel him to score from the free throw line. Following the scuffle, Miller emerged shirtless, as his jersey had been torn off by a security guard who intervened after O'Neal refused to release his grip. Miller left the altercation with minor injuries, including scratches and cuts on his chest and arm. Oakley, on the other hand, was left unharmed physically but faced the possibility of suspension after officials concluded he had fueled the fight instead of diffusing it. Shaquille O'Neal avoided the media after the game, but Lakers head coach Phil Jackson did not hold back his frustration. He openly criticized the referees, accusing them of allowing the game to reach such a physical intensity by failing to assert control earlier. Predictably, the NBA responded strongly to the brawl with hefty penalties. Shaquille O'Neal received a 3-game suspension without pay and a $15,000 fine due to his actions during the incident. Meanwhile, Charles Oakley, who had been ejected for getting involved, also faced disciplinary measures from the league. The clash quickly became one of the season's most discussed moments, further contributing to Shaquille O'Neal's reputation for fierce battles in the paint. Lastly, there's the Heat-Knicks rivalry. Tensions between the New York Knicks and Miami Heat were already sky-high, dating back to the 1997 Eastern Conference semifinals. By the time the two teams met in the first round of the 1998 playoffs, part of what would grow into 4 consecutive postseason showdowns, Knicks head coach Jeff Van Gundy found himself fielding questions about whether he had warned his players to stay off the court in the event of another skirmish. Van Gundy emphasized that his team wouldn't repeat their previous blunder, insisting it would take sheer recklessness for them to leave the bench again. Yet, what worried him more was whether they could maintain their composure when tensions ran high. He pointed out that while many speculated about the Knicks possibly making the same misstep, that particular incident was behind them. Any new slip-up, he noted, would stem from an entirely different cause. Strangely enough, his concerns proved to be almost foretelling. During Game 4 of the 1998 series, another scuffle erupted, this time involving Knicks power forward Larry Johnson and Heat center Alonzo Mourning. With just 1.4 seconds remaining, the two became entangled while vying for a rebound, and Mourning threw the first punch, which didn't land. Johnson countered with a missed swing of his own. After a brief exchange of wild blows that hit nothing but air, TNT analyst Doc Rivers aptly remarked that neither athlete was skilled at fighting. Despite the lackluster exchange, the league treated the confrontation with seriousness. Mourning faced a $20,000 fine along with a 2-game suspension, while Johnson was penalized $10,000 and also barred from 2 games. Knicks forward Chris Mills received a 1-game suspension and a $2,500 fine for stepping off the bench. Yet, the most unforgettable aspect of the altercation wasn't a punch. It was Van Gundy clinging tightly to Mourning's leg in a frantic effort to stop the brawl. The sight of the Knicks head coach barely holding on amidst the surrounding chaos became one of the strangest and most iconic moments in NBA playoff history. If you like this video, feel free to click any of the cards on your screen to explore more content.